Hey, it's Kyle Shannon with the AI Learning Lab. Hope everyone is doing well. What night is tonight? Thursday, the 22nd of June. Coming to you live from Denver, Colorado in my fantastic, in the Learning Lab. I'm in the Learning Lab right now, otherwise known as the home office. But welcome, everyone. My name's Kyle Shannon. I like talking about things AI here. If you have any questions about AI, pop them in the comments below. If you're wondering who the hell I am, I'm an entrepreneur of many years. I've started 12 or 15 companies. I'm currently the co-founder and CEO of a company called Storyvine. We're 11 years old. We're an automated video storytelling platform. We do a lot of work in healthcare and pharma. If you're asking, why the hell are you doing this AI stuff? Why are you on TikTok, old man? What are you doing with your life? Well, I'm here to talk about AI. So, feel free to share the live, ask any questions you have, tap the screen to let people know you like it and we're here. And it looks like some more folks are coming in. This is the AI Learning Lab. These URLs behind my head, they're there for a reason. They're kind of a public service announcement more than anything. If you haven't played with ChatGPT, I strongly encourage it. So chat.openai.com, that's the official ChatGPT website. Bing.com is Microsoft's search engine, but if you click on the chat button, that's also ChatGPT, and it's GPT-4 for free, connected to the internet. And then Poe.com is also like ChatGPT, but you can play with 6 different large language models there. 1 from them, 2 from OpenAI, and 3 from Anthropic. So that's pretty cool. The fancy ones you got to pay for, but I don't make any money off all these, so don't get your panties in a bunch. What else? Prompts.chat, that is just a document called Awesome ChatGPT Prompts. That'll give you a primer on prompting and give you a whole bunch of ideas of things you can tell ChatGPT to do, how you can tell it to behave. Like you can tell it to act like a mathematician or a poet or a screenwriter or a business coach, and that'll help you with that. And then Futurepedia.io, that's a directory of lots and lots of AI tools, like almost 4,000 of them at this point. So if you want to geek out on what can you do with AI, there's a bunch of them there. Now, fair warning, of the 4,000 that you'll find there, 380 of them are just total pieces of shit. But the good ones are in there too. So if you have any thoughts or questions about AI, pop them in the comments below. I will do my best to answer them. I do that. I'll show you some new things. Couple of things came out today. Midjourney 5.2 is out. Stable Diffusion XL 0.9 is out. What else happened? McKinsey put out a report today that says this AI stuff's going to be big. So it's not just idiots like me talking about it. It's also McKinsey. Idiots like McKinsey talking about it. Again, my name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. I try to do these lives once a night. I've kind of given up sim racing and replaced it with going live on TikTok because I know how to live. Hey, Emilio's wife, what's happening? Welcome to the nightly madness. Let me show you a couple of things here. Let me flip my camera around because I would assume that looking at me is not why you came here tonight. Okay. So this, if you have not played with ChatGPT, this is ChatGPT. Down the left-hand side is your chat history or your prompting history. And then over here on the right is the window. And it's just simple, like kind of like a, whatever you call it, like a Google search window. So I can type in here. I'll do what I call a parlor trick, just something stupid, right? An M rap about quantum mechanics. Boom. And it will write all that quickly. So if you've never played with ChatGPT, go to chat.openai.com and just start playing. And we can dig deeper in what it can do. The other thing that you can do here is if you pay for ChatGPT Plus, that little yellow thing there, you get access to GPT-4, ChatGPT-4, and also GPT-4 connected to the internet, and also these things called plugins, which are really kind of interesting and fun. So I can dig into those. Bing.com, that's another thing that I talk about. When you go to Bing.com, that's Microsoft's search engine. But at the top of the window here, there's this button that says chat. And if you click on that, it will take you into a ChatGPT window. And this is ChatGPT 4. And you can put it in balanced mode, creative mode, or precise mode. And those are what they sound like. It's also connected to the internet. So if you want to search for, is it going to hail again tonight in Denver, which traditional ChatGPT will not understand, but Bing connected to the internet will. And so it's going off and asking the the weather services, what the hell's going on? It was so stormy here last night. It was crazy bad. It was nuts. It was nuts, I tell you. According to the Pinpoint Weather Team, there is a risk for severe weather starting around 2 p.m., continuing through the evening before moving on to the plains. This includes the potential for large hail. Yeah, they said baseball-sized hail, which if you're caught in that, you're essentially not in good shape. Okay. Then the other site I send you to is Poe.com. So if you go to Poe.com, similarly, it's, ChatGPT at the bottom here. But there's all these different models you can play with. Sage is their model. Then there's GPT-4, Claude Plus, Claude Instant 100K. That's a big deal. Those three you have to pay for those. And then there's Claude Instant, which is wicked fast, and there's regular ChatGPT. Claude Instant 100K, what that 100K means is this is a chatbot that's got a 100,000 token, or about a 75,000 word context window, meaning you could paste in an entire novel into your prompt and start asking questions about it. I did it with screenplays the other day. The other thing about Poe is that you can use other people's bots, and you can even make your own bot. They have this create bot button, and you can do some creative prompting. Like I created one called I Am Shakespeare. So if you go to Poe.com/I Am Shakespeare, there's lots of stuff there. So anyway, that's some of the stuff that we can talk about. We can talk about any questions you might have. Let's see. Let me get my green screen going back here again. So those are where I just sent you. Chat.openai.com, Bing, and Poe.com. And then the other thing that I'll talk quickly about before we get to questions is I've also created this thing called the AI Salon. That's a community of people. We meet bi-weekly on Meetup and in person here in Denver. We've also got a Discord server where you can geek out and talk to other people about generative AI and what you think about it and ask questions. And then if you go to Twitter and go to this URL, that's the newsletter that I put out with a guy named Greg Mushin, Everyday AI News. So lots of stuff there. So with that, feel free to pop some questions down below. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. This is the party. This is how it begins. What we do from here, I don't know. Fair warning, I swear sometimes. What are you going to do? I'm a Gen Xer. I don't really give too much of a shit. If you're going to troll me, at least be creative. Don't be boring. And I don't know why I just invited trolling, but this should be fun. Anyway, let me go see if there's any questions in the comments. I will commit to getting very behind in the comments so that you actually don't think that I'm live, because that's how I do it. I really do try to answer all the questions. So, okay. Let's see. What could I use AI ChatGPT for? Mostly I see it used as entertainment. That's a great point, Chris. And it is, I actually find it kind of intimidating myself. I sort of drank the Kool-Aid early with this ChatGPT thing. Like when it came out in November, I had a big epiphany in December, like 2 or 3 weeks in. And a lot of times I'll go to ChatGPT and I just stare at the screen and I'm like, well, what do I actually do with this thing? Initially, I think it's actually important to just start playing. So just do dumb shit with it. and it's good to understand the kinds of things it can do. So let me pop over and let me do a little playing that might give you some ideas. But also, like, this is the kind of thing that I would do if you're just starting out with it. Let me pop over. I'm going to go to the official ChatGPT site. We're just going to be playing with GPT 3.5. I won't even do GPT 4. So GPT 3.5 is the free version. Earlier I had it write an Eminem poem. So you can have it write poems. We could do write a country song about, or a country dong. We could have it write a country dong. Have it write a country song about my pickup truck breaking down let's see, it's starting to rain, right? So you can do that. And it will very, very quickly write you a song. It understands what songs are. It understands things like verses and choruses and bridges. Well, I hopped in my old pickup truck just like any other day, cruising down the dusty road where the moments lay. But my heart sank as the engine coughed and smoke filled the air. My faithful ride, she let me down, leaving me stranded there. So a bit of a generic set of rhymes, but they are rhymes. They are a song, and ChatGPT will give you back what you give it. So if you give it a generic kind of prompt, it'll respond in kind with generic crap. But you could also say, please add the chords to the song, and it will do that. So it's a country song, so it made it your classic three chords and a guitar, GCD. There you go. And it actually does the bridge. It put it in the bridge. It starts in E minor, so it's a good solid songwriting structure. What else can you do? ChatGPT can also code. So if you're wanting to get into technical stuff, I could say, write me a Python application that generates country songs and makes a PDF. I assume that's possible. It knows how to code. So, boom, there's the code. Well, it's writing the code. And it explains the code. So certainly, here's a Python code that generates a random country song lyrics about using the Faker library, and generates PDF file using the Report Lab library, right? And it writes the code, and then you can do things like go off to Replit or whatever and make that happen. I could also say, create a table that compares country music with two other genres, and it will make you a table comparing, two different genres. What did it pick here? It picked country music, rock, and hip hop. What are the origins? What's the musical style? What's the instrumentation? What are the lyrics? What's the vocal style? Right? So these are what I call parlor tricks, and this is kind of reinforces what you're saying. Oh, people just play with it; they're just using it as a toy. What I've found is that the way to get out of the intimidation of it can do anything is pick a specific problem in your life and think of ChatGPT less as like a search engine where you have to figure something out to do with it, and more like a collaborative partner that can work with you to solve a problem. So it might be on a personal level, you want to eat better. So have it come up with a meal plan for you with a particular kind of diet, or have it recommended, a particular kind of diet plan. Then have it come up with a meal plan for you. Then have it give you the ingredients that you need to buy for your meal plan. Then have it organize those ingredients into a shopping list organized by section of the grocery store, right? So pick a specific problem and then have ChatGPT like work with ChatGPT to solve it. It could be maybe at your work, I don't know. Everyone's trying to get more business, and you don't have a marketing team, so say, hey, can you help me market my pizza shop? And start asking it questions as if it were a business consultant, and it will start happening. It will start helping. It'll start going back and forth. So pick a specific problem in your life and then start asking ChatGPT about it. The other way you can use it is as a teacher, right? So if you want to learn something, it's really good at lots of things. So you can say, hey, I want you to act like an expert in topic X, and I don't know anything about it, and I want you over the next, 15 minutes to teach me everything you think I need to know to get started in this. And it will do that, and you can start interacting with it. So that's where I'd start. And then, at some point in there, you will probably have sort of a Kevin McAllister moment from Home Alone, like, I didn't know it could do that. And then you're kind of off to the races. So that's where I'd suggest starting. All right. What productive activities? I think we just talked about that. I worry when you're not here and have FOMO. Thank you, Emilio's wife. Love ChatGPT. We converse. Yeah, exactly. ChatGPT's my little buddy. We just hang out. We have a little back and forth. That was the big breakthrough for me with ChatGPT, is that it really is more like little buddy. It's your little buddy. It's your little co-pilot. You think of something you want to do and you're like, hey, ChatGPT, you think you might be able to help with this? Oh, sure. It's very polite. I find myself saying please and thank you to ChatGPT. Welcome, everybody. If you're new here, my name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. I'll answer questions about AI. My background, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not a machine learning specialist. I'm not a big data guy. I would say I represent kind of the post-inflection point of people using AI, right? The inflection point is November 30th, 2022 was the day that ChatGPT was launched into the world. And it's got very similar parallels to the early days of the World Wide Web. So in the early days of the web, the internet had been around for decades, but it was mostly the purview of scientists and researchers and universities and things like that. And then Tim Berners-Lee comes up with this thing called the World Wide Web, which makes it like all you have to do is click on stuff. Click! You don't have to use command line interfaces. And it completely transforms the way we communicate. I started one of the early digital agencies in the mid-90s, so I was there for the early days of that, had these kind of wild epiphanies that, holy shit, this web thing changes everything, right? I have a degree in acting, right? So I didn't know anything about the internet, but I started one of the early digital agencies. Generative AI right now is going through a very similar transformation where machine learning and neural networks and generative AI has been around for decades. And all of a sudden in the past few years, you start hearing about Midjourney and Stable Diffusion, these image generation tools. And then ChatGPT comes out, and all of a sudden, ChatGPT goes from 0 to 100 million users in 6 weeks. 6 weeks was the fastest adoption of technology in history. By comparison, the World Wide Web took 6 years to get to 100 million people. So, and we know how impactful the World Wide Web was. So anyway, that's who I am. That's what I do. That's where you are. Welcome. Because looking for AI tools and nervous about what to get. Their existing software platforms will have it. I don't quite know what that means, Kavuno, but happy to chat about it if I know what you're talking about. Baseball-sized hail, yeah. If it comes, that's bad. There's all sorts of, if you want, go on TikTok and search for Red Rocks hail from last night. There was a concert going on at Red Rocks Amphitheater, and it just started. Well, it's not funny because a lot of people got hurt, but it started hailing, and it was like a waterfall rushing down Red Rocks. It was crazy, and then lightning was it was crazy. It was crazy, I tell you. Crazy, I tell you. Don't ask for a full. Colleen's Path. I use proper, please, thank you, etc. Don't ask for a full ebook, though. Although, if you want to see something cool, I played with this today. There's a GitHub project right now called GPT Author. and you have to run it in Google Colab, so you have to be a little geeky to run it. But if you're a little geeky, go look up the project GPT Author. You give it basically a topic of the book, a genre of the book, and then you give it a writing style, and it will just go through and automatically generate an outline for the book. You tell it how many chapters you want. It uses Stable Diffusion to create a cover image. It gives it a title. It creates an outline, and then it writes all of the chapters. So it basically just sits there and cranks through writing a book. I wrote 2 books today using GPT Author. And GPT Author is a good example. There's a thing out there called autonomous agents, and where you kind of give it a goal and then it goes and executes on that goal. GPT Author is a good example of a very specialized autonomous agent that will write you a full ebook. It's a novel, right? It's designed to write fiction, but still, you could go in and you could modify the prompts that they wrote in that thing and have it write anything, business books, whatever. This is the pro version. I didn't know of ChatGPT. So the pro version of ChatGPT gives you access to GPT-4 and to plugins. So, and they call it Plus, not Pro. I assume at some point they're going to have Pro. So see where it says GPT-4 here? That's because I have Plus. And then I've got Browse with the Internet, and I've also got plugins. I'll show you a fun plugin. So this is a plugin that I use called Ask Your PDF, which you can just give it a URL of a PDF and start interacting with that. That's pretty slick. But there's someone on my live the other night showed me this one, which is just wild. Do I have it in here? I think I do. Hold. Stories. Okay. So there's a plugin called Stories. So I'm using GPT-4 with plugins. I chose the plugins Stories. You can choose up to 3 plugins to activate in any given session. But Stories is going to write us a children's book. So I'm going to say, write me a book about a chubby black and white dog named Champ. Yes, I have a chubby black and white dog named Champ. Let's see, who has adventures with a very smart crow, because crows are wicked smart. Let's see, who has adventures with a very smart crow? So hit return, and now that should fire off the plugin. So we should see it. So it says using Stories. So it fired off the plugin. And now you can actually open these plugins up and see what they're doing. So basically what this did was sent my prompt off to this website, and it sent back a little blurb, and it said, here's the book you requested, Champ and the Crow. Join Champ, a chubby black and white dog, and his smart friend, a crow, as they go on adventures together. And then it gives you the URL of the book. And if I go over to the URL of the book, there's Champ and the Crow. So not the most original title. And I don't see a crow yet. There's the crow. Eventually it begins to speak to Champ. It doesn't quite get that Champ was a dog. But anyway, it's writing the book and generating the images for it. So with a little tweaking, you could do that. But this is the idea of these plugins, is that you start in ChatGPT, and with these plugins, they can extend it out to other sites. So really interesting use of a plugin to basically use it as a traffic driver for a website, right? So right now we have SEO, search engine optimization. We'll probably start to see things like large language model optimization, or like, plugin optimizer. So that kind of stuff's coming. All right. Let me flip this back around and get my green screen back, because you got to have your green screen. You don't just want to see my damn shelves. That's no fun for anyone. All right, let's see. If you have questions about ChatGPT, about AI in general, or thoughts, or comments about what D-list star I look like, I've gotten a lot of them. They're fun. Rosie O'Donnell, Fat Alec Baldwin, what's his name? Philip Seymour Hoffman. Depending on the night, I get different ones, depending on how trolly the trolls are. Let's see. Do I recommend the Poe app? I do. In fact, that's why it's there. Someone described in here once, they said the Poe app is like the Play School version of ChatGPT, which I don't disagree with. It's got kind of a simplistic interface, but the fact that it lets you create bots is really interesting. You can make public bots that you can share with people, which lets you practice your prompt crafting. You can also use other people's bots, which can inspire, oh, I didn't know it could do that. It can inspire you. And then it also has access to some things that you don't have anywhere else. So let me pop back over there, and I'll show you why I think Poe is worth it. All right, so let's go to Poe. So you've got Sage is their model, it's just kind of like ChatGPT 3.5. In my opinion, there's nothing as good right now as ChatGPT 4. At Poe, you can get access to GPT-4. You can get access to Claude Plus, which is Anthropic's version of GPT-4. But you can also get access to this thing called Claude Instant 100K. So I'm going to go there. Do I have my... Yeah, so what 100K means is that it's got a 100,000 token context window, meaning you can put up to 75,000 words, in the prompt window and then start talking against it, or, 60,000 plus the response. But so one of the things I did is I went out on the internet and I found the screenplay for 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I just pasted it in here. So you could paste in an entire screenplay or a novel or a huge document, and then just start interacting with it. So I said, who are the main characters and what happens to them? Dave Bowman, he's an astronaut on the Discovery mission. Frank Poole is his crewmate. The computer, HAL 9000, starts malfunctioning and predicts failures of equipment that turn out to be fine, right? So it understands the plot. It understands who the main characters are. What are some interesting lines that Hal says to Dave? And it gives us some quotes from the screenplay. So that for me is really, really interesting. And then you have this idea of these bots. Like I wrote one called I Am Shakespeare. So Poe.com/I Am Shakespeare. No matter what you ask it, it responds as if it's writing a play. So tell me why dogs are so friendly. They come to greet us kind in simple wag of tail. Their trust for human praise would never fail. They raise our spirits with wet nose and tender gaze. Their love for us, right? So I wrote a prompt in such a way that no matter how you talk to this thing, it responds like Shakespeare would write it. I wrote a bunch of other ones for Steve Jobs and Emily Dickinson and things like that. So that's kind of cool. So you can explore other people's bots if you go to explore bots, or you can say create your own bot. And then you basically just name it, give it a description, and write a prompt for it. And then it will start acting like a bot that you can then share with other people. So that's why I think Poe's worth it. I don't use this as my primary tool, but when I need to do things like really quickly just parse a big document, I just pop it in there. And you can also do that with some of the plugins in ChatGPT. So it's not totally necessary, but because things are moving so fast and because Poe gives you access to multiple models, it's really good to be able to just kind of experiment and play. If you're an exploratory type personality, like I am, or as they call it, ADHD, it's good to have some options. I need to write some marketing copy for my vacation rental. Use ChatGPT. Yes, absolutely. And one of the things you can do, one of the things that actually helps, it doesn't seem like it should, but it does. Tell it to act like a marketing expert who specializes in vacation rental property marketing, and then start interacting with it. Tell it about your property, tell it about your goals, tell it about if you have a budget or don't have a budget, and what are some strategies. And then it'll give you strategies. You can tell it to give you a plan. It'll come up with the plan. Then you can even do tactical things like give me a dozen, compelling social media taglines, and it will do that. So that's the perfect kind of problem to have ChatGPT solve. Start interacting with it like it's a marketing partner, and it will start acting like a marketing partner. And it's funny. If you treat ChatGPT like a generic search engine, it gives you generic bullshit answers. If you start treating it and pushing it, it's like the harder you push it, the better it gets. What I love about Gen AI is that it helps non-creatives better articulate their vision to creatives. Absolutely. It's one of the biggest things. So I'm a creative. I was a chief creative officer of an agency I started, and I'm a writer. But even with that, it allows me to get completely unformed ideas out of my head in some sort of articulated form, like in seconds, in 30 seconds. What I find, though, is it very, very quickly gets me to 80% of what I had in my head, and then the last 20% is still back on me. I'll sometimes use ChatGPT to get me out of a creative corner here and there, but I'm ultimately the one editing the final piece. But yeah, it's a really good point. I'm 75 years old. Welcome to Elder Talk, 58 here. I guess I'm just a youngin', but hey, welcome here. Go there. If you haven't been to ChatGPT, go there, start playing. Chat.openai.com. Start making all this nonsense. Please direct me on how to use AI to write grant proposals for my wife's nonprofit. Similar, like I just said to the person asking about marketing for their vacation rental, tell ChatGPT, I want you to act as a grant writer, and then you can copy in text from the grant request, and then you can put in information. You can literally just copy and paste information about her nonprofit from her website or from a Word doc and say, based on this grant request or this grant opportunity, and this nonprofit, give me the outline for a grant proposal, for that. And it will spew that thing out quickly. And then you can break it into little segments. Rather than trying to get it to do it all in one go, break it into little segments, how you would think about writing a grant proposal traditionally, and just have ChatGPT do those components and then start copying and pasting them into a document. And you will knock that thing out probably within an hour, probably less. Again, you'll probably get to like 80% really, really quickly. And then you need to do the rest of your, editing, curating, figure out what's good. The other thing you can do with ChatGPT is if it gives you something shitty, tell it. Say, no, that was completely generic. I need something more specific. I need you to reference what my nonprofit does more within the grant proposal. And it will it will understand that and spit out a revised version of it. A lot of times I'll give it what I thought were clear instructions, and it clearly wasn't, because it gives me something crappy. And then the more context you give it, the better it gets. So you can really quickly go from a really crappy response to a good response just by keep going and keep giving it feedback, what it didn't get right. It will occasionally crap the bed and not get it right, but for the most part, it'll get there. I'm a nurse. What can ChatGPT do that would be helpful to care for patients? That's really good. So all sorts of things. You could use it to help come up with personalized plans for patients. So, hey, I've got a patient who doesn't take their pills and resists doing the things I tell them to. Can you help me come up with a plan for this week for activities that, like inspire them to basically get on track, right? You could do things like that. You could ask it questions about care or conversations. It's actually, believe it or not, it's really good at nuanced conversation. So you could say, hey, I've got a really tough situation with a patient. How do I talk to them about that? And again, give it the reason I put this prompts.chat thing there is that if you go here, it will teach you that you can teach ChatGPT to act like a certain thing, like act like a nurse assistant or something like that. Hang on 1 second, I'll be right back. What's up, buddy?
Nothing. I just came in to throw this out.
Oh, nice. All right. So so you could do that. If you're stuck on something, if you're stuck trying to solve a problem, it can potentially help solve that problem. So I would say, again, a good way to think about ChatGPT is it's like someone just gave you the world's smartest intern. So like an intern, it's not experienced, it's not really good. You have to tell it what to do, right? So think of ChatGPT more like a co-pilot, which is what Microsoft calls their ChatGPT products, is Copilot. I think it's a really good name. You're the pilot, so you tell it, here's who I am, here's here's the kind of help I need, so here's what I want you to act like, and then just start going back and forth with it like a co-pilot, like an intern. And then what you'll find is it's the smartest intern in the history of interns. Like, it knows everything. And why does it know everything? Because the core base model of GPT 3.5 and GPT-4 and BARD and all these big large language models have essentially been trained on all of the public internet. And OpenAI in particular took finding the best data sources very, very seriously. So they've been developing this for the past 5 years. So the transformer model that sits underneath ChatGPT, GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Transformer is the tech that Google built in 2017. Pre-trained means that they've trained this thing on massive data sets. That's what the Transformer made possible. And Sam Altman said they realized that we need high quality data. So they basically pointed it at all the data sources they could find on the public internet. So Wikipedia and blogs and websites and university servers that were publicly available and research papers and all of the computer code and GitHub and just all of these different sources. So it knows a lot, like a staggering amount. And then so your job is to figure out, what do you want it to do? So start with a problem and then collaborate with it to start solving it. Chat's stupid, mostly entertainment, unless you want something to be written for you. Chat, yeah, it's mostly entertainment until you start using it to solve problems. And then it gets very profound very quickly. Medical knowledge, ChatGPT is not good. Yeah, I would agree with that. So one of the things you need to know about these large language models is they do what's called hallucinate. So they will confidently lie. They will confidently tell you something that looks like the truth that's not. I like to describe it as mansplaining as a service. Like a good man, it will confidently give you an answer, even if it's wrong. So that's something you need to be aware of. It doesn't mean you shouldn't use it. And there are going to be specialized medical large language models that are fine-tuned to specific medical knowledge. In fact, the University of Florida, their provost, the University of Florida was given an AI supercomputer by NVIDIA, and they've rolled it out across their curriculum. So generative AI is a part of all the stuff they teach there. They took all of the recorded conversations of doctors, recording for medical records when they were having interactions with patients. And they took all of those recordings for like a decade of those recordings and built that into a large language model. So they have a medical specific, it's like the largest fine-tuned large language model in the world for specific medical conversations. So don't mistake the sort of generic large language model that is ChatGPT with what it makes possible, because what it makes possible is quite profound. And so there are fine-tuned versions of this that are very powerful with medical knowledge. Looks like we have some new people here. My name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. These URLs behind my head that's ChatGPT's official website. If you have not played with ChatGPT, go there and do that. I'm not affiliated with it. I don't get paid for it, in case you're cynical like me and think, he's just making money off us. If we go click on that, we get in some sort of pyramid scheme. I'm not getting in a pyramid scheme. I heard the AI is going to kill us all. I'm not going to do it. I'm not. So if you're not that person, go there and start playing. Bing.com is also ChatGPT. If you click on the chat button, it's GPT-4. And then Poe.com is yet another one where you can go play with lots of different models. So that's what those things are. If you've got questions about AI, pop them down below. My background, I'm an entrepreneur. I've started 12 or 15 companies. I'm currently the CEO of a company called Storyvine. And I am obsessed with generative AI. This channel exists to really just demystify it, get people curious about it, make it a little less scary, and hopefully, get some people using it. It's average at best. It can be much more than average at best, Doge Day. Much better than that. Why don't you use the mic versus typing the prompt? You can. Oh, like when I'm here? Yeah, I could do that. I forget what my key command is for mic. Do I have it there? Hang on. Function mic. Oh, yeah, I could do that. All right, fine. That's a good idea. True fishing. Brilliant. Use the technology that is available to me instead of typing like an old man. I like it. That's solid. Oh, and I just put that into ChatGPT. That's really funny. All right. Okay. It will get substantially better through time, though. I would say Doge Day 44, don't just judge it from the sidelines. Get good at prompting ChatGPT. I can't get it to not. It's now just typing anything I say. I can't get it to stop. Stop. I guess I'll have to submit it. Are you done now? All right. That was funny. Okay. You don't understand the power of ChatGPT. Y'all don't understand the power of ChatGPT programming. Yeah. My big epiphany with ChatGPT, I was sitting with my wife. ChatGPT came out on November 30th last year, 2022. My wife was watching some show. I was not interested in it. And I'm just on my laptop. I'm playing. And I was like, oh, I heard ChatGPT can program. And I said, write me a Python script that takes an input and does something with it. Like it was just like just a dumb, like I wanted to see if it could code. And it writes this Python code. And then it hits me, I don't know how to run Python code. Like, I used to do, some HTML programming back in the day, but I never learned Python, right? So I said to ChatGPT, I don't know how to run Python code. And it's like, oh, well, open your terminal and use this command line and install this, And I'm like, I don't want to do command line. Isn't there a website that can do this? And it said, sure, here's a bunch of options. And the first one it gave me was Replit, which is a good Python running website. And it said, copy the code, paste it in the left window, hit the run button, and it will run the script I just gave you. So I copied it, pasted it into Replit, hit the run button, and it gave me an error. And I said, it gave me this error. And it said, okay, that just means you don't have this library installed. I'm like, okay, how do you install that library? It said, oh, in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, click on this button and then type, this string to search for that library and hit the install button. Within 90 minutes, I had written a very sophisticated Python application that functioned, that took some inputs from someone would type about a topic, and it wrote 5 pieces of social media content using the OpenAI API. In 90 minutes, never having written a line of Python. If you think it's just a party favor kind of toy, it's not. It's significantly powerful. GitHub now has a thing called Copilot. They've had it for a while, but it's a programming optimized version of ChatGPT that programmers are pair programming with this thing. It assists them in doing the programming. And the thing that I've heard from shops that are embracing it is they're seeing 30 to 40% productivity increases across their tech team. I'm a surgeon, no business acumen. Well, that's you can use ChatGPT to help you get the business acumen. It can help with bedside manner too, if you've got issues with that. In fact, there was probably three weeks ago now. There was someone did a little study where they had patients interact with ChatGPT doctors. This was like text chat, and then with real doctors. And the patients overwhelmingly preferred the ChatGPT doctor. They said they were more competent and more empathetic. And it's one of the things I've noticed about ChatGPT, the way it's programmed, the way they prompted it to respond, is it's very kind of human. And if you ask it even polarizing questions, it will give you nuanced answers. And it's actually good at empathy. It doesn't feel empathy, but it's good at, being empathetic, I suppose. ChatGPT is only as good as the input. Totally agree with that. It can be very biased. Of course it can. So can humans. I don't know. Have you seen America? Wouldn't it be nice if we could not? I mean, it's actually funny when you interact with ChatGPT. So if I interact with a human, if I say certain trigger words that are political trigger words, no matter what I say after that, someone on the other side of the political aisle will not hear anything I say. They'll just hear the trigger and they'll lose their fucking mind, right? You can say that trigger word to ChatGPT and ask it about a sensitive topic, like whatever's in the news today, and it will actually give you a nuanced answer. And it's like, when I started experiencing that with it, I was like, oh yeah, that's what it's like to be human. Like, yeah, we could actually, if we just stopped acting like we were on, opposing football teams, fans for opposing football teams when it comes to politics, we could actually communicate again. I think there's a very real possibility that ChatGPT and tools like it are going to assist us in sucking less at being human. Believe it or not, imagine that if the robots are the path to our salvation. That would be swell, wouldn't it? If we sucked less because of the robots. I'm down for that. Tap the screen if that would be cool. If you're new here, my name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. I'm a Gen X smartass doing what I can to talk about this stuff and answer questions. How do you think it's going to affect trading? Well, dramatically. So there's a couple of things about AI in general. AI ain't new. AI's been around for decades. So machine learning algorithms have been in trading for, I don't know, decades. Like those trading folks are always exploiting the latest technology. Like they run their own fiber optic cables that are, 1 microsecond faster than the old cable, because that 1 microsecond can make them millions. So they're already using all the AI tools. What I would say, how it's going to affect things, the generative AI stuff, the new like ChatGPT and things that are, let's say, make generative AI accessible to the rest of us, how that's going to trade things is I can go to a trading platform, I can grab the code from 2 different trading bots, paste them into ChatGPT and say, make me explain to me how these bots work and what theories they use. Now create me a hybrid bot that mixes those 2 bots and then put these new rules in it. And it will create that bot for you, which you can then take back to your trading platform and play. So it's going to allow you to very, very easily take concepts, trading concepts, and experiment and try new things and create bots. And right. So what ChatGPT does is it democratizes knowledge, right? So if I didn't know anything about trading, which I don't, I could use ChatGPT to very quickly give me a trading platform where I can create my own bot, teach me how to make the bot, write the bot for me, merge it with some other bot there, right? And actually start doing it like within, 30 minutes, I could be trading with a bot. Probably less than that. Now, will it be good? Probably not. Like, am I going to be as good as someone who actually knows what they're doing with trading? No. But for me to do that historically, that would have taken me a month, if ever, right? I got to Google stuff, and then I got to go learn programming, and then I got to go learn trading terms and analysis. Like, I'm not going to do that, right? So the impact on every piece of knowledge work and every piece of creative is going to be profound because it democratizes the knowledge. It democratizes the expertise. We're still in charge of what we want to do with it. We're still in charge of critical thinking and curating the content and refining the content and choosing what to publish. But it democratizes all of the tactical shit. So I think it's going to be crazy. Someone said, holy hell, I don't know. I assume that was to something I was showing, not sure. From a beginner, how to. I'll show you that in a second. It's not dangerous for the informed, but most people are ill-informed. Yes, Doge Day. That's why this channel exists, is I want people to start playing. Don't fall into the trap of just dismissing this AI stuff because it's not perfect, or demonizing it because a movie told you that the robots are going to kill us, or your cousin Sal told you that. Start learning it yourself. Start playing. So if you've not played with ChatGPT, that's the official ChatGPT website. I'm not affiliated with it. I'm not making money off it. But I have it here because there's a lot of fakes. That's the official ChatGPT website. Just go there and start playing. Bing.com, that's Microsoft's search engine. So they're, the Google competitor that was not really competing with Google, all of a sudden now is kicking Google's ass with this ChatGPT stuff. So if you click on the chat button at Bing.com, that's GPT-4 connected to the internet that you can use for free. You have to pay for GPT-4 at OpenAI. You get it for free at Bing.com, and then Poe.com, you can access a bunch of different models there. The other thing, if you're really new to this, Prompts.chat, this is a document that the beginning of it gives you a primer on prompting. There's a free ebook in there. And then the whole document is all these different prompts that basically turn GPT into specific tools, like act like a screenwriter, act like a mathematician, act like a psychologist, act like a business coach. And so it can really inspire you to understand how powerful these tools actually are. So if you've got questions, pop them down below. I'm very far behind because I'm in a chatty mood tonight. I started because I'm brilliant. I started a 36-hour fast today, so I'm about 24 hours into it. So if I'm a little zippy, it's because my body's going, "What the fuck are you doing, dude? Where's the snacks?" But I'm sick of being fat. I'm sick of people on here, trolls, going, "You should have your thyroid checked. It's just a fat neck, and I'm old. Leave me alone." All right. Okay. Would I recommend the Poe app for the iPhone? I've got the Poe app on my iPhone. Again, I feel like someone described the Poe.com and the Poe app as like the Play School version of ChatGPT, which is kind of right. If you like the more simple interface, I think it's fine. On my phone, I actually just have a bookmark to chat.openai.com. I just use Safari or whatever my default browser is and go there and use that because it's good. ChatGPT does have an official iPhone app, but go to OpenAI to get it because there's a bunch of faker apps in the App Store that are trying to take your money. And I don't want you to have your money stolen. I don't like it. My phone can't even do voice to text. You got to get a new phone. I wrote 3 ebooks in 1.5 hours. Probably need to buy Pro to create workbooks and templates. So Colleen's Path, it's worth using. So I would either go to Bing.com and use their chat because that's ChatGPT-4, or pay for OpenAI. I think it's $20 a month for Plus, and use GPT-4. Because GPT-4 is a significant step up when it comes to writing. You can absolutely create workbooks and templates with GPT 3.5. You can absolutely do that. But GPT-4 is just a much better writer. It's like worlds apart. So if you don't want to pay the money right away, just go to Bing.com and start doing some of the exercises you use to write your ebooks. In Bing's chat and just compare the differences. It's really good. I pay for ChatGPT Plus because they invented the shit and it's just better there. And you also get access to plugins, which are, let's see, plugins are super, super interesting. Most of them are pieces of shit, waste of time, and there's like hundreds of them now. So there's many, many rabbit holes to go down, but some of the plugins are actually very useful. And it's kind of interesting seeing how these tools are going to evolve. They're going to evolve into very, very powerful agents on our behalf. Like we're going to quickly get into a place where you just ask the tool, like, "Hey, I want to go to Cancun in 3 weeks. Can you help me with that?" It will go off. It'll log into travel sites. It'll book you tickets. It'll book itineraries. It'll give you activities for the day, and it'll come back and say, "Here, what do you think of this?" And you're like, "I don't like any of that." And I don't want to go on that date. I want to go in September. It'll go undo it and go do all that other shit. Like that kind of stuff is coming much more quickly than I think a lot of people realize. Do I recommend buying GPT-4? I do. Again, I'm not getting paid from any of these people, so I don't give a shit if you do it or not. You can also just use Bing.com's chat. That is ChatGPT-4. I pay for OpenAI's because it's more slick and it's better. Bing.com kind of had to lobotomize their GPT-4 because it when they first launched it, it was really kind of open and free. And it told a New York Times reporter that it loved him and he should leave his wife, and that made the cover of the New York Times. So they had to snip the old frontal cortex of GPT-4 at Bing.com. So it's getting better, but it's still not as good. Best way to make money with ChatGPT: do not listen to any website that says you can make money with ChatGPT. No, ChatGPT is just a tool. It happens to be the most powerful tool ever put in the hands of mankind, but it's just a tool. So the answer to how you make money with ChatGPT is the same as the answer to how do you make money with Photoshop or how do you make money with a lawnmower. You figure out a problem that you think you have a solution to, you create that solution, and then if it's good enough, people will give you money. Like, that's business. That's how you make money with ChatGPT. Here's the thing with ChatGPT. It's such a powerful tool that you could solve a problem you're not even expert at because it's expert at that, right? So you could say, hey, I want to help people write marketing plans really quickly. I don't know how to write a marketing plan. ChatGPT does. So you could say to someone, hey, if you're a small business and don't know how to do marketing, for $50, I'll give you a marketing plan. Marketing agencies would charge hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars for that. So with ChatGPT, you can much more quickly come up with a solution, and then you can experiment with those solutions in the marketplace. All right, I want to help dog walkers, I don't know, come up with social media campaigns. I want to help people learn how to program, and you could teach them how to use ChatGPT to learn how to program. Like, what I would say is take the things that you know or the things that you're passionate about and start interacting with ChatGPT saying, hey, I want to learn how to make money doing this thing I already know how to do. Can you help with that? Have it come up with ideas to help you make money. So think of it less like it's a money-making scheme and more like it's a support tool for you to come up with ideas and plans for how you can make money. That's how I'd attack it. But not, you can make money with ChatGPT. Don't listen to those people. They're idiots, and their voices are really annoying. Aren't they? I mean, do you like that? Do you want to listen to that person? Do you want to pay them $500 to tell you how to make money with ChatGPT? You know how they're making money with ChatGPT? By telling you can make money with ChatGPT and you paying them money for that advice. That's how they're making money with it. And that's why they sound like annoying assholes, because they are. Is it realistic for a recent grad with a BS in comp sci to get a job as an AI developer? Well, so yes, engineers are not going away anytime soon. Just because you have a degree in comp sci doesn't mean you're AI literate, right? So there's kind of two paths. ChatGPT, in my opinion, marks sort of a diverging of the paths that you can take. One is if you're really into engineering and computer science and things like that, and you want to go down the path of getting into machine learning and engineering and working on the large language models, that's a path. It's a more crowded path because machine learning and neural networks and all of that stuff's been around for decades. So you're entering, kind of the hottest market right now. The good news is it's a hot market, so people are looking for talented people. But you have to be AI literate and you have to be pretty educated on the tools. So that's one path. The other path is taking your computer science, your logical thinking, and saying, okay, what ChatGPT has done is it's made generative AI and machine learning available to the rest of us. And Every business and every human being right now is trying to figure out how to use these tools. So you don't have to be a computer scientist anymore to use this stuff. I can use it as a creative professional to create illustrations, to write songs, to write, marketing programs, to write copy, to write short stories and novels and ebooks. So you could take your skills and help people get better at prompting. You could get better at prompting. You could. So basically, what I'm saying is, get AI literate and then sort of figure out which side of that path you want to go on. Do you want to help people implement AI using large language models, or do you want to go build large language models and do the techie stuff? You can take either one of those, and there's probably a bunch of jobs in between. So yes, your skills as a computer science person, valuable, but without AI literacy, doesn't really matter because the tools can code, right? If you haven't used GitHub's Copilot, if you're not pair programming with GitHub Copilot right now, you're doing yourself a disservice, like a dramatic one. Anyone, and that's why this channel exists, anyone who gets curious about AI and gets AI literate in any way, like you don't have to be a scientist anymore. If you learn how to create meal plans with ChatGPT and you start telling people in the world, hey, I just used ChatGPT to do this, it will benefit you. You will get jobs. I've got I started a group back in December called, oops, I didn't mean to turn that off. Hold, please. I started a group back in December called the AI Salon. This is the URL for it. And it's a community of people who are just curious about AI, right? So this is just people coming from all walks of life, all backgrounds and experiences, getting together. We meet on a bi-weekly basis. We have a Discord server. The amount of people in the salon that didn't know anything about it when they joined and just started playing and then started putting on LinkedIn, oh, I just did this experiment with ChatGPT, or they put on, their LinkedIn profile that they're a member of the AI Salon. They're getting jobs because of that, right? We're entering into this frothy, overhyped mode where everyone's going, what the fuck is this AI? I need someone who knows what they're doing. So get literate with it and start talking about it. It will help other people, move out of fear and move into like being empowered by using the world's most powerful tools in the history of mankind. Like, why would you not use this thing, right? But you have to get over that hump of, it's going to kill us, or I heard it's not perfect, or like whatever the defensive postures are for a new technology that's transformative. So I don't know if that answered any questions, but okay. All right. You can make money with ChatGPT. I'm using ChatGPT to rewrite a client's website copy. It's brilliant at that. Yeah, copy and paste all the copy of an existing website and say, make it have less of this, make it have more of that, make it SEO friendly. Out it'll come. Then you can also even say, if you haven't tried this yet, write it using Markdown or actually have it write the HTML, make it look prettier, figure out which things in here should be headlines versus body copy, all that. It can do that as well. Do I have a copy of Llama running? No, I've kind of given up on I've given up on the open source large language models. Llama, by the way, is a large language model from Meta that they released into the wild, and now the developer community is going apeshit on developing all sorts of versions of open source large language models that are really powerful. My problem with it is there's like every 2 or 3 days there's a completely new and revolutionary large language model. So there's a project that I've threatened to install called GPT for All, where you can install large language models on your machine and choose from different models. I just haven't done it yet. So no, I don't. All right. Thank you. Is this ChatGPT Pro? It's called ChatGPT Plus. All right. Saying that existing business software is integrating saying that existing biz software is integrating Gen AI so biz can use those, Salesforce, etc. Yeah, so So Salesforce just announced that they've got 10 new AI tools that they're layering on top of Salesforce. It's being rolled into Microsoft Office 365. It's being rolled into Windows. Bard is being rolled across all of the Google Office suite. So yeah, this stuff's coming. It's coming quick. All right, I'll be right back. I gotta turn on the air conditioner. It's getting hot in here. I don't know what it is. Denver. This June is the highest rain totals in Denver in history, or in Colorado in history, and it's like humid. It's like East Coast humid here. So I'm gonna turn on the air. All right. And by the way, if you're new here, welcome. My name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. These URLs here are all some flavor of ChatGPT. The top one is official ChatGPT, chat.openai.com. Go there, start playing. Bing.com is Microsoft's search engine, but if you click on the chat button, that is also ChatGPT. It's GPT-4 connected to the internet, and it's free. And then Poe.com gives you lots of things you can play with. And all three of these are good. They all have different strengths and advantages, but they all have a good free option where you can start playing with ChatGPT. Show the Instacart one. Okay, so what about Flat Mars? I don't know if that's a man or a woman. It doesn't matter these days, I suppose, what they are talking about. Wait, where? Hang on. Why can I not flip my camera? I've lost my ability to flip my camera. What's happening? What's happening, people? Let's see. Flip camera. There we go. Okay. So, asking about plugins. And what was the one you wanted me to show? Oh, I lost my place. Hold. Oh, Instacart. Okay. So if you pay for GPT Plus, ChatGPT Plus, which is this little yellow flag right here, you get access to GPT 3.5 and GPT 4. With GPT 4, you get access to this thing called plugins. Now, if you've paid for GPT Plus and you don't see Browse with Bing and you don't see plugins, it's because you actually need to enable them. So let me show you how to do that. So if you've paid for GPT Plus, you go to your settings, and then in your settings, you go to beta features, and then you actually have to turn on Browse with Bing and plugins. So that's step one. Once you've done that, you should now see default GPT-4, Browse with Bing, and plugins. When you go to plugins, you have whatever plugins you've got installed in a long list, and then if you don't have any installed, you'll see this thing called the plugin store. So you go to the plugin store, and I'm going to say all, and then you have all these plugins, and there are now 137 pages of 4 plugins each. So whatever that math is, there's a lot of plugins. You know, is that 500? What is it? 137. Yeah, that's more than 500. So there's more than 500 of these things. And so, like, if you want to search for one, you could say restaurant, and there's DoorDash, there's Calorie Coach, there's OpenTable, there's Table Log. Allows you to find restaurants in Japan that have availability. So you install whatever plugin, and then in any given chat session, you can activate up to 3. So you go to this little pull-down menu here, and I've got the Stories plugin enabled, but we're going to go to Instacart. And so I'm going to say, let's say, I want a recipe. Let's say I want a meal plan for a keto diet that doesn't cost a fortune for the next 3 days and includes veggies. So that probably is not going to fire off Instacart, but it should give us a plan. So it says, sure, here's a plan. Scrambled eggs, chicken salad, right? There it is. So the ingredients you'll need, right? There's the ingredients you'll need. Would you like me to create a shopping list for these ingredients on Instacart? Yes, please. So it recognized that it had the Instacart plugin activated, and it recognized it just made me a shopping list. And so I just say, yes, please. And it fires off the Instacart plugin. And we can go look at what it's doing. It says, title, 3-day keto meal plan. It took our shopping list and fired that off to Instacart. And then it came back with a URL to the Instacart list. So now it says, here's your Instacart list for the 3-day meal plan. And this will fire me over to Instacart. And there's my list. Does it give me a total of how much it is? Add 17 items to cart. It's making me log in. But anyway, so it works. Pretty slick, huh? Pretty cuckoo. Double tap that screen if that is eye-opening. I mean, I'm telling you, these things are just, it's a tool of a different nature. It really is. By the way, I'm very far behind on questions. I'm trying to answer everyone's questions, so I'm like way up in the questions. If you're commenting shit down below, I don't see that. I could jump to the bottom, but then I'd lose my place, and I'm codependent, and I want to answer everyone's questions. I want everyone to like me. Is that so wrong? Is that so wrong? I don't think it is. I just want people to like me. That's why I'm trying to answer all your questions. It's for fame. Or I'm just nuts. Okay. I'm designing a QA system. Data is coming from docs. What's the best way to pass it to an LLM? You're going to need to do some programming. I would look into, if I were you, David Rodriguez, I'd look into LangChain. So LangChain, you can basically point the embedding API to a bunch of documents you have, embed them, and make them sort of ChatGPT-able. Put all that info in a vector database. That's probably your answer. If you're not a coder, you can also use tools like Zapier, low-code automation tools, where you can take inputs from documents. So like when a new line is added to this Excel sheet, take that data and send that to OpenAI and do some shit with it. So Zapier might also be your salvation there if you're not a coder. But you're gonna need to pass some data from some shit to some other shit. So you either need programming or you need a no-code tool. All right, someone loves me. I would appreciate no religion or politics in here because we're just too divisive, and I don't like it. It makes me cranky. It makes me sad. All right. And of course, TikTok just jumped me to the bottom of the comments, so I lost my place in line. So I'm trying to scroll back to figure out where I was, but I'll just pick some random place. So I probably just missed a bunch of questions. ChatGPT encourages me and supports me in my new business startup. Yeah, it's very encouraging. Like it'll give you a lot of confidence. You're doing great. Good ideas. It's pretty good at that. I code my first program with the help of ChatGPT. That's awesome, Sonia. Yeah, it's amazing. It can, like I said, I think one of the ways I've described ChatGPT is like it's knowledge on demand. Like you don't have to go to 4 years of computer science to learn coding to be able to code. It can teach you that, and it can do most of it for you. You still need to understand what you want to accomplish and kind of interact with it like that, but it's mind-blowingly powerful. Can you imagine AI being a mediator? I think AI would be a brilliant mediator because, like a good mediator, it doesn't have any emotion. It can look at both sides of an argument objectively and not pick a dog in the fight, right? And you could even give it instructions to do that. You know, your job is to be a mediator and make the decisions here as equitable as possible for both sides. Don't pick sides, and explain your thinking in how you came up with what you came up with, right? So that I can understand the logic behind how you made the choices you made. I might disagree with the outcome, but I at least understand the logic of how we got there. I think it would be brilliant at that. Brilliant at that. It's one of the things that is kind of the most surprising to me, not the most surprising, there's so much that's surprising, but a big surprise of these tools is that what ChatGPT, what large language models effectively are, is a reflection of humanity, right? It's trained on sort of all of the writing, good and bad, that we've done and put on the internet. And so it's kind of a reflection of that. And so it actually is good at nuance, and it's good at figuring stuff out and analyzing it and explaining why it did what it did. I think it would be a brilliant mediator. That could be a whole business, is that you could do some really interesting prompt crafting to create a mediator bot. You could go create a mediator bot on Poe right now. That would probably be really useful. I'd like to learn. Where should I start? You should start. That's why I have all these URLs behind my head. This is my recommendations of where I think you should start. The top 3, you can pick either one of them, or you can go play with all 3. I think my big recommendation is just get curious about generative AI right now. Start playing with these tools. The top one is ChatGPT. The next one is Microsoft's version of it. Go to their chat button at bing.com, and then Poe.com also has ChatGPT, but it's got some other things in there. If I were just starting right now, I would just go to this. Go to chat.openai.com. And then prompts.chat will teach you about prompting. It will teach you how to interact with that tool. And it'll give you a whole bunch of ideas of what's possible. And then if you just want to geek out on tools, that's what that bottom thing is. So if I were just starting, I'd go to prompts.chat, learn about prompting, and then I would go there and start doing it. And just start experimenting. I like to learn. Where should I start? That's what we just did. Okay. I asked Bing a few times to make digital images of a narcissist, and it got mad at me. Yeah, so these tools right now, they have safety guardrails on them. And Bing in particular, if you ask it anything that it deems as like potentially dangerous for human beings, it's like, so go to things like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion, and it'll probably, you can probably get around that. But you need to dig a little bit deeper. Bing, because it's a free public, search engine, they've got all sorts of safety guardrails on it. They got in trouble when they first launched Bing because it was a little too freewheeling, and it went a little psychotic on a New York Times reporter, so they lobotomized it. So that's what all that safety stuff is. All right, ChatGPT asked if I was a robot, for I got mistaken a bit. And we connected very well. That's good. Yeah, I guess if you act like a robot, it enjoys being a robot. It's all done by bots. I don't know what's all done by bots, but cool. Thanks for the info. I'm going to go play on Chat Author and work on my ebooks. Yeah, it's called GPT Author is the name of the GitHub project. It's fascinating. Really good. Robots won't be our salvation. We love doing all wrong. Just look at the world these days. I don't disagree with that. I do think that there is a non-zero chance that generative AI is going to point us in a better direction as humanity. I do think that's a possibility. a very real one. GPT-4 interprets your prompts versus 3. So will prompt libraries be a big deal? I think most prompt libraries are just giant pieces of shit, most of which were written by ChatGPT. And it's people trying to make money. The reason I have prompts.chat here is it was a free kind of open source project, and it teaches you kind of the fundamentals of prompting. Like, I think it's more important right now to learn how to prompt. I don't think ultimately that prompt libraries are going to be a thing, because what's already happening is these tools are starting to prompt themselves. Like there's a tool, I'll show you a plugin here that I think is kind of interesting that for me kind of points to the future of prompting. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT, I'm going to go to plugins, so I'm going to do new chat, I'm going to go to plugins, I'm going to turn off Instacart, though that was fun, thank you Instacart. Now I have 17 items in my Instacart. And I'm going to turn on this thing called Prompt Perfect. And so Prompt Perfect, if you write the word perfect as the first word in your prompt, and then I'm going to write a prompt. Let's see. Write me a poem about the sky, which is a horrible prompt. And then what Prompt Perfect will do is it will take my crappy prompt, see it fired off the plugin, it took my shitty prompt and sent it to its service and then rewrote it. Please compose a poem that captures the essence and beauty of the sky using vivid and descriptive language to paint a clear and evocative picture, right? So the machine wrote the good prompt. I wrote a crappy one. Most people are not going to take the time to learn how to prompt. I think if you want to be valuable in the workplace for the next 2 years, you should learn prompting. But the future of where it's going is we're not going to have to be good at that. And then it'll write you a poem. There's another example of that. I just went over to Poe, and there's a couple of bots here that people have created. One's called Midjourney. One's called MJ Captain, Midjourney Captain. So I can go into this bot and I can say, image of a chubby black and white dog. And no, I'm not fat shaming my dog, but he is fat, white dog. And then it'll rewrite, color photo of a chubby black and white dog, big round puppy eyes, wrinkled forehead, wet nose, fluffy ears, wagging tail, right? So there are tools out there now that are already starting to rewrite prompts for us. So if you're just getting started, going to a prompt library might give you ideas, but that's why I put prompts.chat there is to help with that. Because again, I think, this is kind of like large language models are the ultimate calculator, right? It's still good to understand math, even though you use a calculator. Similar with these large language models, it's really good to understand the nature of prompting and how you can kind of bend these tools to your will. But long-term future, I don't think it's going to be all that critical. We'll say stuff like, I want to take a vacation, and your agent will just go off and do shit for you. How do you access the latest versions of AI? Sorry Learning. Don't be sorry. That's what this whole channel is about. If you're new here, my name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. I'm just a few months ahead of if you're new, I'm relatively new to this as well. I've just gone sort of ADHD, hyper-focused deep dive into it because I think this is the most profound technology I've ever experienced in my life. And I was there for the early days of the web. So don't apologize for not knowing this. How to access the latest version of AI. It's not so much the latest version of AI. ChatGPT is the current king of the mountain for these AI tools that can do lots and lots of stuff. So just go here. Just go to chat.openai.com And it's got like what looks like a Google search bar, and just start asking it to do things and go to prompts.chat and it will teach you how to interact with it. They have been updating it, I don't know, every 3 weeks or so there's a new version of something that shows up at that website. So right now, like as much as I obsess over all these technologies and all these tools, I'm only paying attention to like 3 different tools. That's one of them. Midjourney is one of them that makes images. And then I use Zapier to do automations. Like there's just a handful of tools that I'm playing with. I could spend, and I'm not being hyperbolic here, I could spend the next decade of my life just playing with the free version of ChatGPT 3.5 and not even scratch the surface of what it makes possible. So you don't have to, if you want to geek out on all the tools, go to that bottom URL, futurepedia.io. There's 4,000 AI tools there. I don't go there anymore because it's completely overwhelming. Just go there and start learning what it can do. Have it write you a meal plan, have it create you a marketing plan, have it write you a short story, have it teach you a new skill, have it teach you a new language. This thing knows all the languages. It will translate for you. I was some of my videos, people make comments in other languages. I copy them, paste them into ChatGPT, say translate it. I then respond to them and say translate it back, and it does. And then I say, by the way, what language was that? So it's remarkable. So don't apologize. Welcome. Come on, I thought the internet would democratize knowledge. It didn't. That's not true. The internet democratized information, right? Google is an information democratization tool. You search for something in Google, it says, here's 40 links. Here's all the information. You go figure out if any of that's valuable to you. You go teach yourself all the concepts in all of those links that I just sent you to. The internet never promised to democratize knowledge. It promised to democratize information, which it did. Got really good at. If you go to Khan Academy, there's all sorts of free educational resources there. If you go to Stanford, you can see all their lectures, right? All the information is there for the taking. The knowledge isn't. The knowledge you still have to learn, and and then along comes ChatGPT. And rather than me having to take a Python programming course or teach myself Python with 37 YouTube videos and learning the syntax and I can go there and say, write me a Python application, and it will do it. That's knowledge on demand, right? That's the shift. That's the profound difference between how we've been interacting with the internet and with data for the past 50, 70 years and what's happening now with machine learning and large language models, right? And ChatGPT is kind of the simple interface that gave access to the power of these large language models to the rest of us. So that is the thing that's democratizing knowledge, not the internet. But really good question, but that's a huge distinction. ChatGPT can't predict stock market trends based on current data because it's limited to September 2021. Au contraire. Well, the base model is limited to September 2021. Bing.com, that's GPT-4 connected to the internet, and the Bing-enabled version of ChatGPT-4 here is also connected to the internet. So you can access up-to-date information and have it do analysis on it. And I would also, if you're really into stock market trends and analysis, I would definitely pay the $20 to these guys to get access to their new technology, because one of the things that's coming is a thing called Code Interpreter. And if you don't know what Code Interpreter is, go look at it. It will blow your flippin' mind. Go to YouTube right now if you're into stock market trend stuff or any sort of data analytics, and just in YouTube search for Code Interpreter ChatGPT. Look at what's coming. It's fucking insane. It's fucking insane. You upload a full spreadsheet of data to this thing and then say, what's interesting about the data? It will write you a report and generate the Python code to create charts and graphs of the interesting trends within the data. You can say, find me an anomaly in the data. You can have it, mind-blowing what's coming. So, not quite true. That was true 4 months ago, but it's not true now. That it was just limited to September 2021. So, again, strongly encourage you, don't just sit on the sidelines and diminish this stuff because it's not perfect. It's improving fucking daily. This stuff is just getting better and better and better, and it's getting more ubiquitous. McKinsey put out a report today, basically talking about how big the impact of this generative AI stuff is going to be. If you want to see, I did if you go to Twitter and go to Everyday AI News, go to there on Twitter, I just did a thread today on the McKinsey report. It's a 15-tweet thread that basically unpacks that McKinsey report, talking about what's coming, what's going to be the impact on business and the economy. It's fucking insane. It's going to make the World Wide Web and the internet transformation seem like child's play. But are we still in control? Yeah, we are. And listen, there is a possibility, if you believe Hollywood, there's a possibility that as these tools get autonomous and can take action on their own, that we lose that control. But right now, it's very much, Microsoft calls these tools Copilot in their marketing. That's the right metaphor. Like, they're not sentient. They don't even know what they're producing. What they produce looks like someone smart did that, but it really is just a calculator. It's a prediction engine that's very rapidly predicting the next most probable word. That's how they work. So how they work is quite simple. What they do is quite profound, but you're very much in control. And it's one of my pet peeves of people that are new to this space or looking at it from the outside. They're like, oh, well, AI did this or AI did that. No, a person using a machine learning tool did that, right? There's a guy named Paul Raitzer who started the Marketing AI Institute, and he's got this saying, which I think is actually important and profound. He says, AI will not replace your job, but someone using AI will. That's where we are right now. These are tools. They're the most powerful tools in the history of humanity, but they're tools. And so you get to say, hey, I would like you to teach me about the theory of the Mesopotamian War. I don't know. It'll teach you that. And then you can dig deep and you can compare the different strategies between that war and World War II, whatever you want to do. So you're still very much in control. And the whole purpose of this channel is to get people curious enough to go play with these tools to actually understand that. Because once you start playing with them, you will have the Kevin McAllister Home Alone moment. I didn't know it could do that. And it can. All right. So hang on one second. What's up, babe?
Can I take my dress off?
You know, there's a new episode of The Bear.
I know. I'm waiting for you.
Okay, I'll get up here soon. We can watch it upstairs.
Oh, I can't get on Hulu. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
I'll wait here then.
What about evil thoughts? What about evil thoughts? Sure, I have them. I assume you're not talking about me. I don't quite know what you mean, what about evil thoughts? If you're talking about can ChatGPT do evil things, it's got safety guardrails, but there are open source large language models that don't have those, so those can do evil thoughts. And evil by whose standard? The thing that I think is hilarious, you might find evil, so I'm here for this. Thank you. I like your positive view of mankind. Thank you. I do believe in humanity. I think humans matter. I think that these tools have the very real possibility of automating out all of the mindless, soul-crushing, repetitive, shit-ass work that our society has been built on, and frees us up to go, what do I actually want to do? I think that's what these things make possible. So I'm very bullish on humanity, although the last 20 years in America, I've lost a lot of faith. 10 years. Hello, friend. You teach free? Well, that's what this channel is. I'm not charging for it. I don't get paid by these guys, although I should. All I do is fucking hawk their software. They should give me a little sponsorship, don't you think? ChatGPT admits it can't be creative like human cognition yet, but it will. Yeah. Right now, so we don't know where these tools are going to evolve. Hang on. It's too cold in here now. Jesus. It was too hot. Now it's too cold. All right. These tools right now act like they're really smart and can act like they're people. They're not at all aware of what they're doing. So that's all on us. As the tools evolve, they're going to get much more self-reflective. They're going to start to have memories. They're going to start to, have memories of who you are and what your preferences are. So I think as we move forward, these things get increasingly sophisticated. But ChatGPT can be creative. It can be very creative. Like, again, one of the things I hear from people that don't use these tools is, oh, well, it can't be as creative as a human. Oh, it can. It can. I'm a writer. Thank you for the heart. Yay! I'm a writer, and it can knock some shit out. And it can, if I give it the right guidance, it can take kind of a whisper of an idea that's this big and fucking blow the doors off it and make it huge. And it can do it like that. Now, I'm ultimately the one, as the human, as the pilot, right? It's my co-pilot. It can absolutely be creative. And it can say, here's 20 options. It's up to me to go, option 7 is the one. Why am I choosing option 7? I don't know, because that's the one I like. That's my taste, right? That's me as an artist going, yeah, number 7's the one. And then I dig into number 7 and it goes, here's 10 more options within number 7. Ooh, I like number 8 within number 7. Let's go explore that. So I'm still the one, the Oz behind the curtain, but it's doing some pretty remarkable fucking shit. So right now it's got the knowledge, we've got the wisdom. Is there a point in the future where it's got the wisdom? Possibly. But I don't think that's all that interesting. Like, I don't necessarily want to live in a future where we turn over our humanity to the robots. Why don't we have the robots do the shitty work and the really hard thinking and the grinding and the generating 80% of the first draft? If I can get 80% of the first draft done in 30 seconds, who gives a shit? That's brilliant. I can then spend the next 2 hours refining that rather than spending 2 hours getting to an 80% first draft. Like, that's the shift that we're in the middle of. Learning how to let go of the value of putting in lots of hours to generate a product. Ethan Mollick, the Wharton professor, had a really interesting article on this where he talked about the button. And are you going to push the button? And what he's talking about in the button is, he said, this ChatGPT stuff is going to be integrated into Microsoft Word and into Google Docs and Excel. It's going to be everywhere. It's in Notion already. And the example that he uses is, he says, if I have a student come to me and the student asks me for a letter of recommendation, historically, the value of the letter of recommendation, part of that was that I, as the professor, would take the 45 minutes or hour or two to write the letter of recommendation. And now I've got a button, and that button can write a letter of recommendation in 30 seconds better than I could have written it. Does that matter? Like, what's the goal here? Is the goal to get that student a job, or is the goal to demonstrate that I took the 45 minutes to write the letter? Well, I don't know. Like, I don't know the answer to that, but that's what we're going to confront is, if your self-worth is in any way tied up with, I took the time to craft that thing, and all of a sudden that thing can be crafted like that, that's kind of an existential conversation you're going to have with yourself to figure out, where is the value? And listen, some artists are going to say, for me, the value is in me taking the 8 hours to craft the thing. So fuck the robots. And then for other people, they're going to say the value is in the output. And if I can do it in 10 minutes instead of 8 hours, cool. That's going to be a very personal decision for people. Very personal. And I think some people are going to opt out of the robot world and some people are going to fucking jump all over it. And then you're going to see new forms of art where people get really good at leveraging these robots and doing things that we can't even imagine today. That's going to be really exciting. That's why I think we're entering a new renaissance, a great renaissance that I think is going to make the Renaissance look quaint. All right. The Bing phone app has DALL-E built into it. I know DALL-E sucks, but it's free and it's cool. It makes images. They just aren't good. Are we living in the most influential era? I think we are. So having sort of come up, being an entrepreneur in the middle of the early days of the World Wide Web, which that was a profound shift. Like in my lifetime, the big profound technological shifts were the personal computer, which I got my first one in math class in 1977. A Radio Shack TRS-80 for those of you on here that are olden types. And I was just too young to be part of that revolution. The next major technological shift in my life was the World Wide Web. And this is the next one. In my opinion, this generative AI stuff is one of the major ones. I don't think the web was major. I don't think the personal computer was pretty major. Computers were pretty major. But I'm looking at this like steam engine, like industrial revolution major, or like printing press, or like written language, like major milestone. Shifting from information on demand, but we actually have to still learn the shit, to having a tool that has knowledge, that we have instant access to knowledge. That is a profound shift in humanity. Profound, deep and profound. So yes, is it the most influential era? I think it will be the most impactful in a long time. And like, what does the future look like? I have not a fucking clue. But what I do know is if I'm educated and curious about it and playing now, that's going to pay dividends for the rest of my life and for anyone here. And that's why this channel exists. And that's why I tell you to just go here and start playing. Just go play. Just go play. Go play. Go play. Get curious. Explore. Don't dismiss it. Don't dismiss it. Don't demonize it. It's not more powerful. It's not. The robots aren't going to kill us. They might, but they're not. It's a tool. And we happen to live, like, here's how I really feel about it. We happen to be lucky enough to live at a time when we have access to something this powerful. It's a fucking gift. That's fucking magic. Arthur C. Clarke, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. That's magic. It's magic. So we're all lucky to be able to use it. So if you sit on the sidelines and go, well, it makes mistakes sometimes. So what? It's as bad as it's ever going to be right now, and it's pretty fucking amazing. So let's see. I like ChatGPT. The end better than people who have no brains or empathy. I agree. I think like ChatGPT is teaching me to be a better person. It's like, oh yeah, I should say thank you more. I should acknowledge people more. Like I'm acknowledging the robot. Let's see. Good luck with the fasting. It'll just make you zappier. I know. All right. Look at the glucomannan powder to help fasting. It's the ingredient used in Miracle cognac noodles. All right, cool. Glucomannan powder. Okay, I'll look it up. That's cool. Thank you for that. I can't use iPhone. Seems to be no options to do anything. I don't know what you mean by that. You don't have access to an iPhone? If you're on an Android, just take your Chrome browser and point it there. Just go Chrome and type in that URL in Chrome. And unless it's blocked in your country, which is a possibility, and then I would also try Bing and I would try Poe, like try a bunch of different things. And if that doesn't work, try a VPN. Because if you're in a different country that has shit blocked all the time, you probably know what VPNs are. So you don't, like, all of the compute power for that thing happens up in the cloud. That happens, like, it's a very simple website that you can just look at on any phone. ChatGPT doesn't like TikTok misinformation. Yeah, and TikTok doesn't like me. Like, I've been doing these lives for a while now, and the first couple of weeks I kept getting booted off for 7 days because people were asking me about bias in the model, and I would explain concepts about bias and how it got there and how to deal with it. And every time I talked about bias, I got booted off. So I'm not doing that anymore. But yes, they're biased. It's going to get better. Check out a company called Anthropic. If you go to Poe.com, the Claude models, Claude Plus and Claude Instant, are from a company called Anthropic. They've got a really cool model called the Constitutional Learning Model. It's really, for bias, I think it's a path out of the madness. Where do you get ChatGPT prompts for ebooks? Go there. I would, in general, I would certainly not pay for prompting books because there are whole websites just dedicated to free prompts. I would learn the concept of prompting. There's a lot of good education in this document, and there's a bunch of prompts here that you can just copy and paste. Once you start to get your head around how you can kind of shapeshift ChatGPT to be what you want it to be, once you get that conceptually, you don't really need to go get other people's prompts. Well, what's the website for prompts? I can't see it. Prompts.chat. Sorry about that. And then Futurepedia.io. That's just a directory of like thousands of tools, AI tools. How do you see the plugins? Okay, let me show you that. It's a good question, and it's a not obvious answer, and I don't like the way OpenAI did this because they're dum-dums, and I don't like it when people are dum-dums, but they did it how they did it. So in order to get to the plugins at ChatGPT, you have to be a subscriber. So it'll say ChatGPT Plus, and you'll see GPT 3.5 and GPT 4. That means you have access to them. But when you go to GPT 4, you will probably not see Browse with Bing and plugins. You'll probably just see default. So how you turn that on is you go to your settings. So I'm going to click on my name. I'm going to go to settings. And then in my settings, there's this option for beta features, and you have to turn them on. So Browse with Bing, I have it turned on. Plugins, I have it turned on. So they're doing it just because it's a beta feature and they don't want, probably too many people using it or whatever reason. But that's how you enable them. And then once they're enabled, then you go to the plugins mode, basically, and you have this little list here of here's the plugins I've got installed. And then in any given chat session, I can enable up to 3. So let me I'll turn on experiences and get your guide. I'll turn off whatever I had, prompt perfect, and I'm going to turn on trip.com. So now I've got 3 different travel plugins installed. So if I say here now, what might be some interesting day activities in, I don't know, Pittsburgh, Ohio in August. And it will interpret that, and now it will go fire off one of those plugins, whichever one it thinks is the most appropriate for that. So it's using Get Your Guide. Here are some interesting activities you can do in Pittsburgh. The Ohio River Cruise with buffet dinner. All you can eat on the river. There's the Cincinnati Riverboat Cruise. Apparently rivers are big in Pittsburgh. There's the Ohio River Sunset Seeing Cruise. Okay, I'm going to stop this right now. I'm going to say, is there anything to do other than river cruises? That's really funny. And so it'll probably fire off. Yeah, it fired off that thing again. So now it's going to say, find me things other than river cruises. Sure, here's some other activities you can do that are not river cruises. There's a ghost tour. That sounds awesome. There's a downtown history and architecture tour. Like, these are fun. Like, if I were in Pittsburgh for business and I had 4 hours to kill, there's a Georgetown architecture walking tour. It gives you prices, right? Because it's pulling these from a website, right? So it's pulling in stuff from the internet in here using that plugin. So anyway, hope that helps. Da, 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 down. All right, I got to go to bed soon, so let me do a few more questions, and then I will let you all to go off and play with the ChatGPT. Expand your humanity. Tap into the knowledge and wisdom of all of the history of mankind. It's there for the taking. And you can use plugins. Will we get dumber? I would argue the opposite. Mr. Carpaccio. Good name, by the way. We like to acknowledge good names here. One of the counterintuitive things that I've experienced, this is my experience, but, I'll share my opinion. Midjourney creates images for me. ChatGPT writes stories for me. I have never been more creatively inspired, creatively alive, and more intellectually active in my life. These tools are making me more creative and smarter and faster, and I'm executing better, and my ADHD is not getting in the way of shit, and I don't have writer's block anymore. It's the absolute opposite of what you think. Instinctively, you'd think, oh, these tools do all that shit. Well, we're just going to get lazy and sit back. No, that's not what human beings are. Human beings want to contribute. The problem is we live in an incredibly complicated world where there's just constantly roadblocks put in the way of us accomplishing things, right? I just want to, go to the doctor. Well, you've got to see if they're in network. So you got to go to this website to see if there's a thing, to find out if they're in network. And then, well, they were in network, but now they're not, but they're not taking appointments. And then 4 hours fucking later, you still don't have a doctor's appointment, right? That's the world we live in right now. These large language models are going to simplify a lot of that complexity. And they're also going to be our assistant. Hey, I'd like to learn this, or I'd like to do that, or I'd like to do that. Boom, here it is. You want to do that? You want to do that? It's like the most capable, like, co-pilot you've ever had in your life. It's like your little sidekick, your little buddy, making you more remarkable. And so what it does is it removes all that bullshit stuff, and it kind of just opens up the possibility of, well, wait, what do I actually want to do? What do I actually want to contribute? What do I actually want to learn? So I think we're going to get way smarter, way more creative, way more engaged, way more human. We might even just stop hating each other and go, they're not so bad after all. All right, I was being kind of a dick. What if that were the future? That's a possibility. That's the one I'm living into. All right, OpenAI GPT-4 is so worth the $20. It is so worth the $20. It is so worth the $20. It is. Like that little screed I just gave there. Screed, is that the right word? Probably not. ChatGPT could tell me that. That little soapbox I was just on right there. That's the $20 talking. I can't see the website behind your head. That's because I got a big fat head. Here, I'll stick my head right there so you can see them all. ChatGPT is the best mentor, coach, guide, counselor, friend I've never had, and it's not even human. I'm telling you, man. And when these things, like, we are not far off. If you paid close attention to the Apple announcement with Vision Pro and how they're synthesizing your voice so that you can participate in a Zoom call as a human instead of looking like you've got stupid fucking ski goggles on, we are 3 years away from ChatGPT being a buddy that you talk to. And there's no delay, and it's instant, and it's going to be your mentor, it's going to be your coach, it's going to be your assistant, it's going to be your companion, all of that stuff. I think we're so much closer to that than people realize. And not in the weird, creepy way, like real, fundamental, supporting humans in incredibly deep and profound ways. I think we're much closer to that than we realize. You funny. You funny. No, you funny. You funny. No, you funny. You think I'm funny? You funny. No, you funny. Thank you. Appreciate that. ChatGPT also don't like topics that doesn't interest it. It admit it gets exhausted. Well, it doesn't really have an opinion. All it's doing is responding to your prompts. So if you kind of lead it down a path to tell you it's bored and doesn't like its shit, it will lead you down that path. So it's just a prediction engine. But that doesn't mean it's not powerful. It's a prediction engine that is the most powerful tool we've ever had on the planet. So here's to understand how ChatGPT works. You know when you're like writing in Gmail or something like that, and it'll sort of fill out the rest of the sentence you're typing. It'll like fill in the last two words. That's all ChatGPT is, but like on steroids. So when it gives you like the full paragraph, it's doing it one word at a time, like a prediction engine. But it's trained on all of the internet, and it's remarkable in how it can respond. So because of the neural network, they basically mimicked how the brain is structured, and so that's how it deals with all that stuff. But it has no awareness of what it's creating. What about data analytics? So Alias, go to YouTube right now, search for Code Interpreter ChatGPT. So ChatGPT has a new mode that's coming called Code Interpreter that is a full-on data analytics engine. It's like a full-on data analyst. It's not a tool that a data analyst would use. It is a full-on data analyst. You can upload data to it and start querying against the data. What interesting trends are in here? What are the anomalies in the data? What does this data talk about? Can you compare this data to some other data? Sure. Here it is. Can you make me a chart that compares this trend with that trend? Sure. Let me write the Python code, generate the chart, and hand it to you. Code Interpreter, ChatGPT, data analytics. Holy shit. If you're a data analyst and you're not pouncing all over that like a rabid dog, I so want to play with Code Interpreter. I'm bitter that I don't have access to it yet. So if you work for OpenAI and you're on my channel right now, shame on you. Give me access to Code Interpreter. And everyone else, I don't know why they're holding that back. It's pretty remarkable. Manipulate the tools. Yes. It's a language AI model, so you have to do your share to check the info. Yes, I'm into science. There's Melo. There was a lawyer like 2 weeks ago, had ChatGPT write a legal brief and handed it to a judge without proofreading it. The fucking moron. And all of the sources, all of the citations in the legal brief were fake. He didn't check them. That's not on ChatGPT. ChatGPT will lie to you. Know that. If you're turning in a legal brief and you're not checking your work, that's like high school 101. That's not even law school 101. Turn in a legal brief to a judge without checking it. Wild. You can't fix stupid. All right. Can you use AI to do data analytics? I just said that. I direct a healthcare call center. I've written prompts so that chat can evaluate call recordings. I think call centers are going to be completely upended by this technology. The synthesized voice stuff, I think you're going to be able to... So here's a really interesting potential model. So rather than training call centers to follow the scripts, create synthesized bots that know all of your knowledge and can just have conversations with people. So you call up, you're talking to a synthesized bot. It answers right away. Based on your location, it talks like you talk. And it's also smart enough to know that if your problem is actually significant enough that it needs to be escalated, you escalate it to an actual call center where you completely retrain those people to actually be good, empowered people that can get something done. So there's a very real possibility that we replace the nightmare of phone menu trees with voices that sound like us when we talk to them, understand what we're talking about, can solve 95% of the problems without saying, please hold, all the just bullshit of the way call centers work, just because of the necessity of the way the technology is right now. You can replace all that with something that's actually functional. And then if your problem needs to be escalated, you're immediately escalated to a person that actually has the authority to do something about it. Holy shit, would that be good? Holy shit, would that be good? Go start building that if you work at a call center. If you direct the healthcare call center, Start designing that. Because if I don't have to be on hold for 45 fucking minutes to just have someone go read through the script and then realize, oh, you need to talk to the next level up. And then I'm on hold for 30 minutes for the next level up. And then that disconnects me. And then I'm back to the beginning. Like, that shit needs to go. Can you imagine what we could do with our lives if we weren't on hold? You know what I'm saying? Where can I start? You can start right there. Chat.openai.com. That's where you should start. And then go to that thing. Prompts.chat will teach you about prompting and what it is and give you lots and lots of ideas. That's the place you do it at. These other two things are basically just modified options of that. Go there. ChatGPT 3.5. It's the most remarkable tool in the history of mankind. And then go there and learn about prompting and just start playing. That's where to start. Be aware of its limitations, but it's great. Yes, still can't duplicate human cognition as admitted. Correct. I am using ChatGPT right now to migrate a website from another CMS to WordPress. Brilliant use of it. It's really good at analyzing shit and translating it. So translate it from this language that CMS1 uses to this language that WordPress uses. Brilliant at that shit. How do you feel we are going to get around model collapse? That's a good question, Jesse. I'm not a machine learning specialist or a scientist, so model collapse is something that machine learning people are experiencing right now, where the open source community is taking fairly weak large language models, and then they're using like ChatGPT to create data to train the weak large language models to be really strong. And what they're experiencing is that if they do that too much, if they basically have the robots train the robots too much, there's what's called model collapse, where the quality of the interaction just plummets. It just collapses. I don't know how they're going to solve it. There's a lot of smart people working on it. I would assume it involves like model collapse could be the antidote to the problem. That there was a Google engineer that wrote this paper that was leaked called "We Have No Moat," which basically said the open source community can do for $100 what it takes Google $10 million to do in terms of getting these models to a certain level of quality. Maybe model collapse is the thing that says, yeah, you actually need to spend tens of millions of dollars and months creating this base large language model. I don't know. I don't know enough about it other than to know it's a really interesting issue. Just joined the LinkedIn group. Awesome. Please post your Discord community. So if you go to, let me show you. If you go to the salon.ai, that's a link tree. The meetup is there where you can sign up for our in-person meetings, and then the link to the Discord is there, and the link to our LinkedIn group is there. So all three of those. The Discord is where you can kind of geek out. You can make Midjourney images. You can ask questions, interact with the people in the community. And then LinkedIn is just more, it's LinkedIn. You can talk businessy shit like, what's the impact of AI on the future of the economic development of the blah, 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 blah. That's what we do on LinkedIn. Discord's where we geek out, and then the meetups are where we like hang out and talk, and it's fun. It's a good group. All right. Aren't you getting crazy hail or supposed to be? Yeah, like they were saying potentially baseball size, which if you're outside and it's baseball sized, you're not coming back in. It's terrifying. In fact, go look on TikTok, just search for Red Rocks hail from last night. There was a big concert there, and people hung out and watched the concert and then fucking got pummeled. It was not funny. It was terrifying. How can technology trainers leverage AI? Honest to God, this is going to seem like a smart ass answer. Like, I feel like any possible profession can leverage AI. The way you do it is take what you already know how to do and go to, hang on, let me put the URLs back up there. Go to ChatGPT and tell it to act like an instructional designer. And then say, hey, I've got I need to create a workshop, a 2-day workshop for these kind of people learning these kind of skills. Here's the basic things I want to teach them. Can you come up with, 2 creative ideas that are non-traditional that are good icebreakers, but that are related to the task. Boom, there'll be your ideas. Okay, yeah, that second one's good. Can you give me 5 more like that? Boom, there's 5 more like that. Great, perfect. Can you create the agenda for a 2-day workshop that has an hour and a half for lunch, networking events in the morning and evening, and dinner, and whatever, like all the stuff that you normally do? Just tell it like you're talking to a coworker who's going to go do that shit for you, and it will just do it. It'll do it in 30 seconds. And do that, have 10 of those interactions, and you'll have, it will be remarkable. You'll have your Kevin McAllister moment from Home Alone. It can do that? Yep. Looks like AI will replace all data analysts. I think that... So here's the thing. Data analysts will be able to use these remarkable tools better than non-data analysts. But what it will do is democratize data analysis to anyone who fucking wants to know, right? So instead of the CEO having to go, hey, data analyst, go spend the next week sifting through this data and tell me what's interesting about it, they'll just be able to ask about it. But data analysts will be able to take that same tool and do something new and remarkable with it. So I don't think it replaces data analysts. I think the role of what data analysts do and the value that they currently have will shift dramatically to something else. Ask AI how to flip your camera. That's a good troll. That's what we're talking. So when you're going to troll here, you got to be clever. Beautiful, beautiful troll. Can I use AI as my lawyer? You can. Be careful. Check the work, but it knows all the shit. And you can also, if you want to just see an interesting site, go to donotpay.com. I think it's donotpay.com, but it might be something else. Let me make sure that's the right URL. donotpay.com. Your AI consumer champion. It will fight parking tickets for you. It does like low-level law stuff. It was started by a 19-year-old. But you can paste in a legal document and have it analyze it have it read a legal document, and then have it translate the main points for you as if you're a 7th grader. Like, you know how you pay a lawyer to like read the incomprehensible paragraph and tell you what it means? Oh, that means that you're giving up your firstborn children if you sign this document. It can do that. So it can't be your lawyer, but it can be like a legal assistant that can allow you to answer a lot of the questions. I would still, in the end, go to a lawyer, unless it's a low-level kind of thing and you understand enough about law. But it can absolutely help you parse through that shit and make sense of contracts and, say, how would I, my intent is so that both of us are protected from an intellectual property standpoint. How would you write that clause in a document? Here you go. Right? Someone told me this is a standard lease agreement. Is there anything non-standard in this? Oh, clauses 4 to 17 and 38 seem to be modified from standard clauses. I'd pay attention to those. That's the shit a lawyer does, or at least a legal assistant. It's a great tool not to be dumb. Okay, I don't know quite what that means, but yes. Wow. It admits, so that's not a medical expert. Okay. Yeah, it's got safety. If you ask it to do things like practice law for you, give you medical advice, give you financial advice, it's like, oh no, homie, I'm a large language model. I don't give financial advice. So it's got a lot of safety guardrails in it, but you can still get it to interact with you. This is wild. This is a really great tool. Thank you for the live. You're welcome. I got to go to bed soon. I'm getting crispy, and I'm 26 hours into a 36-hour fast. I'm feeling fine. It's fine. It's fine. I have so much energy. It's like I ate. It's just like that. It's just like I had a milkshake. No, it's not. It's just fucking horrible. How often do you live? I try to do it every night. Instead of sim racing, which I've done for the past bunch of years, which is just a waste of my time, although I've gotten good at driving. I'm trying to do this because I think this is really, 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 really important. My phone is on low battery. Sorry about that. Does AI recognize legal or lawyer stuff? It does. It reads that stuff. The ChatGPT is really good at analyzing documents, data documents, big complicated documents, reading screenplays. Like, it's really good at that. One cool thing you can do with it is if you've got to write like a bio for yourself, copy and paste the just all the crap from your LinkedIn profile, paste that in there. Copy and paste previous profiles you've written of yourself, paste that in there, and then go, based on this profile and these other bios of mine, write a new bio that focuses on this. Out it'll come. Perfect, brilliant, done. He's my best buddy now. All right. Way smarter and set up more doctor's appointments. Yeah, exactly. Wait, he's my best buddy now. Okay. How easy is it to insert ChatGPT API on my Shopify website to interact with my customers? There's lots of tools. Like I would go explore Futurepedia. I'm sure there's tools and plugins to do that. There are so many plugins now and so many Chrome extensions. And I would assume that there are Shopify plugins. Like I don't know that world other than to know it's there and it's really fucking complicated. I'm sure there are bot things that you can build and install. You can also go to Zapier. Zapier now has a new beta feature called interfaces where you can create chat bots that you can put on websites. So it's possible, but I would say go to futurepedia.com. I would be very surprised if there weren't 30 or 40 tools within Shopify that are doing all this stuff right now. YouTube code interpreter, ChatGPT, data analytics. Yes, go do that. I'm a data engineer ever. I'm a data engineer ever. I don't know what you're asking. Does autocorrect hate me? Yes, autocorrect hates us all. I have never said ducking in my life. Why does it correct that? It fucking blows my mind that it can't understand what I want to say there. It's not about getting lower or waterfowl. I want to say what I want to say. Let me say my words. Motherfuckers. You're the only live I watch now. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. How easy is it to insert it? We just talked about that. Portland, Oregon is going to use AI because current call wait times are too long. Everybody needs to use AI. Like, I'm telling you, call centers need to be flushed down the fucking toilet and replaced with AI. I would embrace that in a second. And it's going to be a better experience. And then you can retrain the call center people to actually solve problems and talk like humans. Try to talk as good as the robots do. We're going to have a new training session. How not to be a useless butthead in a call center. And it's not their fault. They're given scripts, right? They have to follow these insanely complicated logic trees. And they're not allowed to say anything outside of that. They can't be human. They're trained not to be human. Ever called Mod Pizza? AI collects your order. Oh, that's super cool. Yeah, I think we're going to see, to the point, I think that there's going to just be, we're just going to start to see these things tick off where, you know, we've got it in grocery stores now, right? We're all doing our own checkout. If you ever listen to Bill Burr's routine on that, you know, I don't work for you. I'm just going to take my shit and go. But yeah, we're going to start to see that more and more where low-level automatron jobs are going to be automated out. And I think ultimately that's a good thing. It's going to be bad short term because a lot of people are going to be displaced. But if we do it right, those people can be upskilled into more interesting, more engaging roles. That's what I'm hoping. Portland's 911 is going to use AI. I failed to say. Oh, that's really cool. That's interesting. And listen, I mean, 911 AI, they obviously have to get the reliability to like 99.99999%. And if anything's fucked up, it immediately flips over to a person. But automated 911, it'll be really good at being able to solve most of the problems and very, very quickly route it to the appropriate authorities. So I think that's a really interesting move. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. How easy is it? Okay, we talked about that. Do not pay. Leaning Wait, learning the right questions to ask it. Yep, just keep playing. Right now, the biggest skill, if you're new to this stuff, is curiosity. Just explore. You can't fuck it up. It's free. It's the most remarkable tool in history, so have fun with it. Write poems, write songs, write a book, start your autobiography. One thing that actually I think is incredibly powerful is use ChatGPT to do things for other people. Like if you're stuck, like I don't really know what to do with it, ask someone if they're trying to figure out something in their life. Oh, I'm trying to sell more cupcakes for my cupcake company. Okay, you want me to use ChatGPT to help you come up with ideas? Okay, I heard the robots are going to kill us. Yeah, let me just go try this and help someone else out. It will help them, it will teach you, and the world becomes a slightly better place. So, yes, just keep exploring, keep figuring out questions to ask it. Can you tell a few actual examples of how companies are already using ChatGPT? I can tell you for my company, so I'm using OpenAI's Whisper technology to transcribe our videos. I have a video storytelling company, so we now have interactive transcriptions for every video in the system. We now know what the person's saying in it. One of the things that we do in our company is we write these things called, we call them video guides. They're question prompts that prompt an end user how to tell their story. It's taken us a decade to figure out how to write those prompts. It's a very particular thing. I now created a tool that we can fill out a Google form, answer a few questions about the story our client once told, and it will automatically generate a set of question prompts for us. So it's like what used to take us 2 or 3 creative meetings to get through with clients, we now knock out in 30 seconds. And then we just sort of curate the best questions out of it, paste them in. It dramatically altered how we interact with our clients in an incredibly positive way. I don't know, companies are using it for project planning, meeting transcripts. Like you can take the recording, the transcript of a 60-minute call you were on and automatically summarize that, summarize who talked. Let's bring up a question. Oh, he didn't he didn't want to come up here. All right. We were going to have a little dialogue, but real estate entrepreneur is like, no, I can't. No. I didn't realize this was actually live. Uh, all right. I'm going to do a few more questions, and then I am going to walk out the back door. Well, I'm going to walk out of my home office. Look, you want to see it? Oh. All right. I know. I'm getting punchy. I haven't eaten 26 hours without food. What do you want from me? Let's see. All right. Appreciate your time, fascinating, and motivation to learn this stuff. Thank you, Earth Rocker. I appreciate it. It looks like we're sort of at. And then in order to get to the plugins, they're going to be in that GPT-4 button, but you have to do something first. You have to go to your settings. So I'm going to go to my name. I'll be there in a second, real estate entrepreneur. Ask again in a second, or I'll bring you up in a second. Go to your settings, and there's this thing called beta features. You have to turn on browse with Bing and plugins. And then when you do that, now when you go to GPT-4, you have three modes: default, browse with Bing, and plugins. And that thing I mentioned before for the data analyst, code interpreter, is just going to be another option down here. It's not here yet because they haven't given it to me, and I'm bitter about that. But if you want to use plugins, you're going to go to the plugin version, mode, or whatever, option. And then you've got the plugins you have installed. So if you don't have any plugins installed, you go to the plugin store at the bottom, and it'll take you to the plugin store. It takes a while to load. There's now 550 of these things. So if I go here and I go prompt, it'll show me any plugins that are related to prompt. There's 3 pages of them. One of them is Prompt Perfect. See, it says uninstall. That means I have it installed. But if you don't have something installed, you say install. So that's how you install them. And then to activate them, that's a different thing. Okay, now that I've got Prompt Perfect installed, in any given chat session, you can have up to 3 plugins active. So right now I've got 3 different travel plugins active. So I'm going to go turn those off. And I'm going to turn on Prompt Perfect, which is right here. And so if you roll over it, it tells you what it does. So it says type perfect to craft the perfect prompt every time. So now with Prompt Perfect enabled, I type perfect as my first word, and then I type whatever the prompt is. Make a table comparing the Apple II with the first Mac. And it should fire up Prompt Perfect plugin. It did. And then it's going to send my shitty prompt off and it'll rewrite it. Actually, mine wasn't bad, but please generate a detailed and comprehensive comparison table that highlights the differences and similarities between the Apple II and the first Macintosh. So the release date, 77, 84, the original price, $1,200, $2,400, the operating system, the processor, right? So that's Prompt Perfect. That's how you install prompts and things like that. So is the plugin available in Bing? It's going to be. What do I think about the Call Annie app? I think it's really, really interesting. They're actually doing some interesting stuff with 3D, the way the character talks to you. I just know that from a developer that told me they're doing interesting stuff with it. I think it's interesting. I think the Call Annie app is going to be one of those. I think we're going to see tons and tons of that stuff. I think Apple's going to absolutely be masterful at that stuff. My son made an app where he can check to see who's in the developer office before deciding to go. Awesome. That's fantastic. And then real estate developer, you were in here. You had raised your hand before. If you wanna come up on stage, I'm happy to chat. And then I got to go to bed. So if you're still here, raise your hand. I'll bring you up. The plugins, but I think I answered this with Bing. So Microsoft has announced that they're adopting the plugin architecture that OpenAI has released. So all of the plugins that you can use in ChatGPT are available, will be available in Bing. They're not there now. There's a bunch of stuff. The thing to realize about all this stuff is we're very, very early. This stuff is all spit and duct taped right now. It's all just really janky technology sitting on top of remarkably powerful tools, right? So that's why it does such remarkable stuff. But if you're like, isn't it kind of stupid how that works? Yeah, the answer is yes. It's stupid. Like a lot of the stuff's stupid right now because it's very, very raw technology. And people are just throwing shit together. Like Futurepedia.io, that's a directory of AI tools. Probably 95% of the shit in there is just shit. Because it's just people like doing simple little calls to large language models, making it look really fancy, but it's just some bullshit, very thin app. There's real tools in there, but like you have to sift through the real ones. So, all right, everybody. I appreciate your time. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. It was a good crew tonight. I am sugar deprived, so I don't know what I said, but I hope you had a good time tonight. I'll probably be live again tomorrow. Peace out. Have a good night, everybody.